Good afternoon, and welcome to the 109th Annual Meeting of the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. I hope you are enjoying your time in the city of brotherly love and the hometown to the rock stars of my first ever concert, Hall & Oates. Probably more relevant to those of us in government finance, however, it's also the birthplace of the U.S. Constitution, the fundamental basis for the United States form of government, and the underpinning for what many of us do. I believe in public service. I believe it is an honorable profession. In the face of scrutiny, whether from the media or the SEC, we continue to help deliver basic services to the people in our communities. If we think about the headlines that shake the public's faith in government, the use or misuse of money is often at the core. And it certainly doesn't help that we have other governmental colleagues, such as those at the SEC, that seem more interested in punitive witch hunts than in protecting the public. Finance professionals are the guardians of the public's money, and we need to be supported in that role. GFOA's best practices and the support network of all of you here are critically important to being able to succeed in our mission. On those days when we feel burdened by the pressures that we face, we need to remind ourselves and each other that public service is perhaps the most important type of service of the service industry. And of course, the finance profession is the most noble of them all. Perhaps the most critical function for the preservation of the public's trust is the public finance profession. We need to rely on our training and on each other to remember why what we do is so important. As I look back at the themes of recent conferences, the one consistent thing was change. Yesterday, you heard Bob talk about resiliency. With all of the changes facing local governments, the call for resiliency is more than a suggestion. It is an imperative. The world has changed a great deal since I started my career at the Minnesota State Legislature in 1993. We are called upon to deliver higher quality services with fewer people. Readily available information is a way of life today, with access to information and misinformation just a few clicks away. This information overload makes it a challenge to ensure that the public views government as transparent and accountable rather than bureaucratic and redundant. How do we cut through all of the noise? We do so through innovation. The innovation theme of this conference is just as important as the resilience theme. You can rarely have one without the other. A resilient organization must be firmly rooted in principles so that it is clear what the organization believes in, while being flexible and innovative, and how they make those principles a reality through the services that they provide. Change is a constant in our environment. Only through trying new approaches and learning from each other can we truly be responsive to the many changes that we face and the public that we serve. One of the areas where we hear a lot about change is when we talk about the changing attitudes of different generations. We have labels like millennials, baby boomers, Generation X or Y. Personally, I prefer to steer clear of those labels, and not just because people tell me that I'm an old Gen Xer. The trouble I have with labels is that they tend to conjure up images that focus on the negative rather than the positive attributes of a particular group. You have to dig a little deeper to get to the tremendous resources that are present in each and every generation. Remember that concert I mentioned just a few minutes ago? I saw that concert around the last time that GFOA had a president from Minnesota, Gary Nordstrom, who is here today. Gary has been active in GFOA for over 50 years. That's 50. He has been on important boards and public finance positions throughout his career, and even early in my career, Gary made himself available to me if I had questions, and he still does today. Thank you, Gary. And how about that president, Bob Ikem? Let's be honest, if you haven't met Bob at your state or provincial association in this past year, you have not been trying very hard. He may be from a different generation than me, but he has the energy and passion that puts the rest of us to shame. In the years that I've known Bob, his generosity in sharing his time, advice and ideas knows no bounds. His ideas on resiliency will help us build a stronger future for all of us in public service. I will be forever grateful for his encouragement and mentorship. Thank you, Bob. We've all heard about that silver tsunami that is upon us. We need to work to find a way to capture the knowledge of experienced professionals who are leaving our organizations at the same time we work to attract recent graduates into our profession. In order to do this, we have to help generations who've been bombarded with negative images of our profession understand why we do what we do. Personally, I find the challenge and diversity of our work to be motivating. I never know what problem will present itself each and every day. And in this era of constrained resources, nobody knows challenging problems more than the finance officer. I also find that the work that we do has an impact on people's lives each and every day. It is this impact that I believe makes public finance a noble profession. So as we look to the future together, we turn to the younger generations. The newer public administrators have ready access to information and many new ideas on how to present that information and use it in the workplace. In addition to finding new ways to communicate, not only is the newer generation willing to take on a challenge, they relish the opportunity to do so. The combination of all of our generations can be incredibly powerful. If we are to capture the knowledge of experienced public administrators while engaging the creativity of younger professionals, there isn't a problem we can't solve together. Now, I'm told that we're born with one mouth and two ears in order to listen twice as much as we speak. There is no one who can remind us of the truth of that more than those closest to us. For me, that includes the mayor and council members of the city of Burnsville, my colleagues back at the city who support me both when I'm in and out of the office, my GFOA and Minnesota GFOA friends who encouraged me to take this journey, and my amazing family, some of whom are here with me today. Thank you to my wonderful husband, Jason, who is my partner in all important things, my brilliant and talented children, Simon and Tasha, who teach me more every day than I could have ever imagined, and my mother, Linda, who taught me about strength and service and came with me to Philadelphia to see me become president of this great organization. And she wanted to see the Liberty Bell, let's be honest. Over the next year, I want to spend time listening to all of you. I want to know how you are making the links between generations and encouraging younger professionals to make public service a career and the challenges that you face in this endeavor. I have already learned a great deal from my conversations in Calgary, Alberta, and San Marcos, Texas. I would like to work with you during my term as president of GFOA to develop practical information to help your organizations as you face this transition. I want to learn from you and share with you what I've learned as well. Now, if you'll forgive me one final Hall & Oates reference, together we can make our dreams come true for a strong future for the public finance profession. I hope you are inspired by the sessions at this conference and return to your communities full of fresh ideas, new colleagues who will be resources to you in the years to come, and pride, I'm going to say that again, and pride in the knowledge that what you do every day is important and admirable. I look forward to seeing you at the next year's conference in Toronto and in the months ahead. Thank you so much for the honor of serving as your president.